from the streets of L.A. to the shores of a distant land to the boardroom of a successful international company. Jerry Phlippeau reveals his secrets to success and shares his story.
Tonight, I have the perfect message for anyone afraid or discouraged in these uncertain times. Never give up.
At one point, I was living out of my car. I was selling pepper spray out of my car. I had nothing. It doesn't matter how many times I've been knocked down. I will never be denied.
Well, Jerry, talk about a guy who will never be denied. I mean, you're a guy making millions now. You've been knocked down so many times,
Right.
but talk about being down. You were homeless?
I was homeless, living out of my car. My girlfriend had broke up with me. I was on the top of the world. I was playing in a rock band in L.A. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden, I had lost my job, lost the love of my life. I had no money and had nowhere to go. My circle of friends were all her and her friends. And basically, 7 days I drove around in a fog in L.A. You know, I made a promise to myself when I left home that I'll never be denied. I will always persevere. And no matter what, I will always make it somehow.
The turning point that vaulted Jerry's company from selling pepper spray to offering well over 100 items in 5 product groups was his first visit to China in 1994.
Well, I had met a distributor that had sold a lot of product to a major retailer in the U.S., and I had figured out that that product was made in China. So I knew if I was going to make this deal happen, I had to get on a plane, get over to China, and find a factory.
Coping with the language barrier was one problem, but getting acclimated to the local culture was quite another.
Going into mainland China, being dropped off on a corner on a bus was like landing on another planet. There were no communication. This was before cell phones. Really, email was accessible. The only way to really communicate was either by fax or by these little phone booths that nobody even spoke English to explain how to communicate. It took me a day and a half before I could find somebody that spoke English. So I had walked around the city really in search of a factory, and really only finding dogs hanging in the windows and people eating snake and beetles and scorpions.
Jerry developed solid relationships and friendships with several business persons and manufacturers in China.
I went to, not the first trip in China, my second trip in China, I actually found a trade show. And this is a show that factories exhibit their wares and their materials to sell. Now, the trade show in China at that time is a little bit different than a trade show that you would imagine in the States. They were basically products in buckets on the ground, and you'd have to sift through these products to find something that was somewhat sellable. Okay, I found a gentleman that was selling a bicycle light, and I happened to just like this individual. We had dinner. He took me to what he called a famous American restaurant. I was actually at the grand opening of McDonald's in China. So we had quite a bonding relationship with that. They were very excited to take me to this famous American restaurant.
Those relationships continue to this day and are instrumental to continued growth of the Flipo Group.
So I travel to China frequently, and a lot of times what I'll do is make factory visits. There's a couple reasons for that. First of all, currently, we're producing another very large order for QVC of over 100,000 pieces of an item. Okay. The relationship in China is very important. Power of relationships is amazingly important. Just by appearing in the factory and talking to the factory owners, you gain a level of respect that you can't by emails and by calls. First of all, it's very difficult to communicate over the phone, but the fact that you've shown them that you have a care and a desire to be there at their factory, that's their life. They respect that. They also will work a lot harder for you to get something done. So going there has multi-purposes. You want to see the product being produced right, but you also want to develop that ongoing relationship that's utterly important. I have had many situations where I've had tight deadlines for shopping channels to deliver a product. We're getting ready soon to deliver 92,000 pieces of an item. The original dialogue over the phone was, "Sir, we can never do that." I flew to China. I talked with them, sat down in a meeting, and the demeanor of the entire process changed. "Yes, sir, we can get this done for you." Just the power of being there and having them like you in the relationship, they were able to shift orders around and make this happen.
Jerry's path to success has been featured on TV and in print. Most recently, a feature article in Millionaire Blueprints magazine and a prime-time slot on The Big Idea with Donnie Deutsch. In his upcoming book, Jerry Phlippeau reveals his secrets to success and shares a few laughs along the way.
So I arrived at QVC the first time many years ago to sell my wares on TV. I had no idea what to experience. I was selling light-up pens. And I got on TV. I was quite nervous. I had sweat dripping down my brow. My back was full of goosebumps, and I literally thought I was going to pass out. I didn't realize how nervous I would be being on TV. So I stood up behind the cameras, and the host and I talked about our product. Well, within 6 minutes, I had sold out close to $75,000 worth of product, and the sweat immediately went away. Felt very comfortable.
So Jerry Phlippeau is one of those guys.
Jerry Phlippeau.
Jerry Phlippeau.
Jerry Phlippeau.
Hey, Jerry Phlippeau is joining us.
Jerry Phlippeau. Jerry Phlippeau.
Jerry Phlippeau.
Jerry, say your last name.
Flipo.